Good morning. You're listening to Drinking Socially, the official Untappd podcast.
Your weekly look into what's happening in the Untappd community and the world of beer. So this episode is brought to you by Untappd and the Untappd store. Use the coupon code PODCAST to get 20% off your next purchase. It's coupon code PODCAST, store.untappd.com. And as a reminder, like and subscribe to us wherever you like listening to this podcast. We trade those likes in for food, and John gets very grumpy when he's hungry. So thanks so much for helping us out.
Hey guys, we ran a poll in the Facebook group, and it was close, really close, I think one vote, but let's not talk about that right now. The badge everyone wanted to hear about was New Brew Thursday. Why? My only guess is because it is one of the hardest badges to max out on all of Untappd across thousands and thousands of badges. So some quick notes. New Brew Thursday is a Twitter account and has 13,000 followers on Twitter. Cool. They haven't made a post since 2017. That's how important New Brew Thursday is. There's a little thread on the lore and history of this badge. It's been around since December of 2010. That's going back to when Apple first announced the iPad, or the Social Network was at the box office making us all wonder why we Facebook so much. Really, 2010 was about Harrison's favorite movie, Inception. And here's a little mini Inception story about New Brew Thursday. The badge was originally created for a podcast called New Brew Thursday. It's long defunct now, but the badge remains part of Untappd lore. So here we are talking about it on Untappd's own podcast, hint, Inception, Spinning Top. Harrison, can you shed a little bit of light on this once a month holy grail?
Absolutely, John. So yeah, this badge is much more than the title of the badge kind of suggests. And I'll admit that until extremely recently, I thought New Brew Thursday, I just had to check in a new beer and have that day I checked it in on be a Thursday, and I could work to level up this badge. And I couldn't have been further from the truth. Well, I was kind of close, but there's levels here. Much like Inception itself, you must go one level deeper to learn really what's going on with this badge. So we're going to do that right now. So New Brew Thursday, during this badge, you were required to check in 3 new beers, 3 Thursdays in a row in a 20-day period. And you can only level up once every 20 days and can only gain progress towards a level once per 24-hour period. So, right, we're just going...
This is like a beautiful mind. I'm looking for
There's
like a whiteboard.
Drawings and arrows and Greek...
Who is Pepe Silva?
It was the mailman. Right, and it originally actually started as a 30-day period, so that was changed for some reason. Maybe we'll get into that, maybe we won't.
So it's gotten easier.
Right, well, right, the target, I think, has shrunk or something, but the point is, so kind of what this thing is illustrating is, it's not just a new beer and it's Thursday, it's in a row on Thursdays, so really you can only unlock this thing like once a month, right, John? That's kind of a bottleneck there.
Yeah, it's kind of built where on so many badges on Untappd, you drink a bunch of IPAs, drink a bunch of stouts. This one with the arduous time, this is like Da Vinci created this badge with the time constraints, and then you can only level up once every 24-hour period, which almost seems like a typo maybe, but either way, it's still also, because of the time constraints, it's impossible to level this up more than once every 3 weeks, and there's nothing you can do to get around that.
It's a Rubik's Cube inside a maze at the bottom of your backpack you left on the plane. And it'll maybe be a little easier than that. But all right, we're going to dive into this badge in a minute. But first, as always, we've got some beer to wet our whistles and get our Da Vinci mind rolling. John, what are we enjoying this evening?
Dude, I am excited about this one. We're drinking a beer from Threes Brewing. Threes. Which honestly, I probably should have figured out where they came up with that name, but 3 Thursdays in a row, 3 new beers. Maybe it correlates. Maybe it is Inception happening right in front.
It's always happening.
So, Threes Brewing, normally out of Brooklyn, they distribute to a bunch of accounts in and around Brooklyn. But we were fortunate enough in that one of our local bottle shops picked up some beer from Threes. So we're drinking their Vliet beer, which is a German-style Pilsner. And Vliet, if I'm saying that sort of correct for our international users, I believe gets its name from like a canal or a little stream. And that makes a little bit of sense. But I think there's a lot of fun to be had with that name, like Vliet. We'll get into the fun later. This is a 5.2% German-style Pilsner on Untappd with 14,000 check-ins, 215 just this month in February. It rates at 3.62, which is, I see as Harrison's trying to hold back the Pilsner foam on his pour on YouTube. 3.62. That's better than half, which I always say is good. But for a Pilsner, they never get rated very well. And it's a delicious style. This is the year of the lager, and Pilsners are pretty close. So Untappd tells us that the tasting notes are clean, sweet hay, herbal hops. And Harrison actually did a little bit of digging. It looks like Saz and Spalter Select hops with a German Pilsner malt. Thank you, Harrison. And a little quip about Threes before I ask Harry how this beer tastes. Brooklyn-based brewery. What's really exciting about these guys is I think they kind of built their reputation for building approachable beers. A lot of lagers, you'll see some hop-forward Americans, and then they kind of dive into even some mixed cultures. But one of the breweries we love the most, Jack's Abbey, built their following on well-made lagers. And this is 2021 is the year of cold fermentation. So let me shut up. Harrison, I got to crack this open, man. How's it taste?
This is it, John. I'm so excited for you to get in here. Yes. So I'm glad. Where to begin? So this is right. So German noble hops in here, just German Pilsner malt, which is amazing. Super fluffy head, which if you're on YouTube, you saw me race to the top of the glass to catch that. And this is perfect. I mean, it's like a light biscuit bread. It's not overly bitter. That's been a trend of American brewers to like take a Pilsner and jack up the hops in it and make it like really, really almost skunky. This has none of that. This is like a nice hop pop. It's very smooth. It's like a saltine cracker kind of cracker happening. And then little hop pop. It's perfectly clear as well. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about what it means to make a good Pilsner, which we can get into, but I'm loving it. It's delicious. John, what's happening over there?
Here's what I want to get into. You said a saltine style of cracker. Right. What's the second cracker that comes to mind?
Club? A Keebler with anything from the Keebler elves. That's or a watercress cracker, but traditionally it's a club cracker.
Where are Ritz in your hierarchy of crackers?
Or maybe
where do Ritz fall?
I mean, doesn't the Keeblers not make the elves make the Ritz? Is Ritz something else? Maybe that's what I meant.
I think only Ritz makes Ritz. I don't know where they come from.
Good question.
I mean, they're basically just biscuity butter. Anyways, this beer I think would pair deliciously. Now I want club crackers. Those are the best dipping crackers. Anyways, the beer that we're talking about, and I think you're accurate to bring that up because I love that you made the point about American Pilsners being pushed kind of really hop forward where you get a lot of that bitterness. Yeah. I don't get it in this beer. I get maybe in the back of your mouth, maybe a little tinge of bitter or dryness. I would almost blame that on the malt more than the hop though. But it tastes not biscuit malty to me like a sweet caramely Marzen. But this, I mean, it's light and refreshing, but different than a PBR, of course. I can't get saltine out of my head, man.
Oh, this is so good. And
that's better. Well said.
And yeah, I mean, like you said, John. I mean, they've kind of made a name for themselves on like celebrating balance in their beers and enjoying that. And this is it. Like, this is not trying to like impress you with how crazy hoppy it is, or even how crazy hoppy it is for the style. It's like blowing me away with just how good it is. Now I could have a ton of them. I wouldn't get palate fatigue. But I'd want to keep drinking them because it's enough is going on where I'm just like really enjoying the taste of it. Like, it's sold me on why this is great. And for me, like a Pilsner is a lot like a cheeseburger. And what I mean by that is
I'm curious.
So
got pickles on it.
Well, sure. But something I like to look at when I'm just learning about breweries is how they do an approach a Pilsner. Same with the restaurants and how they approach a cheeseburger. Is anybody can take a steak and dump a bunch of truffle oil on it and charge you $60 and convince you had something amazing. But it's tough to take ground beef and American cheese and a bun and wow me with that. But if you can do that, you know what you're doing, and I'll trust you to take me anywhere else you want to go in your kind of culinary, repertoire, because I'm on board if you can wow me with a cheeseburger. And this is so it's doing that. It's not a crazy beer. It shouldn't be a crazy beer, but how well it's made, and it's like, this is wonderful. Why don't I drink this every night? I'm having all these thoughts about myself and my shortcomings because of this beer, which is good. But
there's a beauty in the simplicity, though.
Yeah.
You can't. I think you said that very well. And now you've got me on cheeseburgers.
Off the crackers and on to cheeseburgers. We'll get there, John.
At least it's getting better. I looked through this beer on Untappd. I always like to see what my friends think about a beer when I'm drinking it. One of my Untappd friends, Sergio, drank this beer like 3 days ago.
Nice.
And I was excited to see also Paul Shim, who really helps us out with this podcast all the time. Great photographer. Paul checked it in. I can tell by his photo. And right before, Todd Ahlstrom, one of the founders of Beer Advocate, checked into this beer as well back in the summertime. So that was cool to see this beer getting some love from them as well.
That knows. All right. So as we enjoyed this, let's talk more about this legendary New Brew Thursday badge. So again, in case you're keeping track at home and doing some math, it has earned 3 new beers, 3 Thursdays in a row in a 20-day period. Only level up once in 20 days. You can only gain progress towards a level once per 24-hour period. Wow. So way more complicated than I thought. John, where are you sitting right now yourself on Untappd when it comes to this badge? What level you're looking at? What do you know when it comes to your New Brew Thursday journey so far?
Yep. So first you said math, which always gets me excited, much like a cheeseburger. Some quick inaccurate math tells you that one level every 20 days, at most, you can only level this up 18 points in a year. So to max this out, it's at least a 5-year investment with a little bit of extra time afterwards. That's huge. Anybody that's maxed this badge out. So, all right. Thanks for supporting Untappd and checking in so many Thursdays in a row.
Friday,
a lot of new beers too.
Good for you.
Yeah, roll it in. So I'm on this badge. I'm at level 36, and this is one of the badges I'm really proud of because of that consistent Thursday. It almost has to become like a ritual, not just drinking another one of your favorite beers, but always having something new in the fridge for that Thursday, and then not getting rewarded for it, and not getting rewarded for it, and then only leveling up on the third one. I mean, it's chaos. So I'm level 36 on this badge. I upgraded it. I got better at it 2 Thursdays ago, drinking German chocolate cake from Wicked Weed.
Ooh, right. I remember
and one of the things I was most impressed about, only 2% of my Untappd friends have maxed this badge out. And that's saying, I think that says quite a lot. If only 2% of people do anything, they're NFL stars, or they're Paul Shim making this podcast sound great. So thank you, everyone that's maxed it out. More relevantly, 36, I'm proud as hell of that. And hopefully soon I'll hit 40. And if I work really, really hard, I'll be almost at 50 by the end of this year. Harrison, where are you sitting at, man?
So I'm sitting at level 11 right now. So you're more than twice as far down the road as I am. Probably because I was forever just thinking, oh, perfect. I checked in a beer on a Thursday. I've grabbed this badge. And not checking the badge cards or whatever, doing my due diligence. So that's on me. Now I'm all excited to although, to try and catch up to you, but it'll be impossible because of what we just outlined. If you keep doing what you've been doing, and I can't ramp up really much unless I do something with time, and I don't have that much time.
Let's start a band, and maybe you can keep me busy on John, you have band practice on Thursday night. Well, that's not going to work. I'll drink a lot.
Or I was thinking, right, maybe we restart up the new Brew Thursday podcast that never happened, and then through some kind of insider trading, figure out a way to unlock this badge more. I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's a
build more Thursdays. Right. Hashtag more Thursdays.
Exactly. And then Ben Stiller can make a movie about it in 10 years, and it'll be mildly entertaining. The side characters will be great. But his funny brother, but a gardener, there must be something more. But anyway, sitting at level 11, and I actually recently unlocked this with a beer we enjoyed on the podcast on this season, episode 3, Pastry Works from Threes Brewing. So I checked that in,
nice.
I guess a day late, or maybe I guess that was the first time I checked it in. Yeah, on a Thursday, obviously. So, but yeah, that was cool to see that beer pop up again. We've gotten a lot of comments about that, or I have anyway, about people trying to find that, or lucking out and finding Pastry Works since we had it on the cast, which is a tougher one, right? I mean, it's very local to Buffalo, so kudos to you guys being able to grab that one too.
Great time of year to go visit Buffalo right now.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of ice and rain, icy ice, a lot of wind,
mainly ice,
wind coming off the lake,
ice and darkness. Good beer. Good beer.
Ice and Darkness. That'll be that's the Game of Thrones prequel, isn't it? About just a bunch
before there was fire, there was ice and darkness.
Right. Where are we? Is this the dark forest of the giant people? No, this is Buffalo. You're in Western New York, young man.
That's Stark Tower over there.
All right, cool. Yeah, and so again, I'm not gonna be able to catch up to you, but whatever, I'll try. Maybe you'll forget. Maybe I'll get lucky, although I doubt it. And something else I noticed that was pretty cool about this badge is, as of right now, so it's labeled as a special badge on Untappd. Untappd badges have certain, you have venue badges, you have beer badges, local badges, and then special badges. And right now, doing a quick look through, there's really, I think, of special badges, it's New Brew Thursday, Cheers to Independent U.S. Craft Breweries, Drinking Socially, our badge is a special badge. And then it's really,
shout out.
Right, and then it's really just the Cheers to You for your birthday badge and the supporter badge. And I think those are the only other, specialty badges that are active right now. There's only about 5 of them. So this is also, one of a handful of special badges you can get, which is really cool to know that even beyond how hard it is to grab, it's also part of a different class of badges. You don't see that often. So make it just another little nugget there about the New Brew Thursday badge itself. Any other cool stories about it, John, we've come across and learning more about this badge, or just working at Untappd and inside info about it other people may not know?
I'm looking for ways to prove you wrong on that special badge, because there's been almost 1,800 of them, but I think you're right, man. Dang it. So bravo. Good spot. Are there any sometimes Dogfish Head will run a badge? Anyways, sure. Maybe you'll see some special badges coming up that get classified in there. The ones that are a month where you have to check into a certain beer from a certain brewery, you'll see them in the special badges, which are, you only have, they're only available for a limited time. So cool story about this badge. is it was accidentally retired December of last year, December of 2020. Accidentally, the badge got retired just for a brief period of time until someone realized, like, why have you gotten rid of the new Brew Thursday? I haven't lived long enough to max it out. And the explanation that came from the Allfather Greg Avola was, look, when we created that badge 10 years ago, we weren't thinking about what what the world was going to look like then. We'll just set an expiration for 10 years. Who the hell knows what's going to be happening then? And sure as heck, 10 years, Untappd is actually like doing really well and popular, and there's a lot of badges. And all of a sudden, one of the most famed, hard to get badges got accidentally retired because of like a Y2K bug, which, like, everything got fixed, it got reactivated. But I love that little story of, like, so true. Untappd was built in a garage. Like, I don't know. I think Greg actually built it in the corner of his apartment in between lunches. But but that's so cool to see that. Like, I didn't even know if we were going to be around in 10 years. I thought I would just set it to retire just in case.
I know. I love that. I think that's such a cool story, and speaks to just where we are now, but how that was definitely not a foregone conclusion when this crazy wild game began in Greg's brain. Killer stuff. Cool. So good luck out there, everybody. Now you know. If you were like me and you thought you just had to check in a new beer every Thursday, please let me know so I don't feel so silly. And yeah, share with us what you guys are at. Jump in the Facebook group, tag us online. I mean, whatever. Let us know how you're doing on the new Brew Thursday badge. Love to hear about it. Love to hear if you're one of the 2% of John's Untappd friends that actually have done this, and how much the time machine cost or how you made it happen. That's a different conversation, though. But we're going to take a quick turn now and jump into this episode's verified venue highlight. It's a good one. It comes from one of our own. John, what do we got today?
That's true. I'm really excited to talk about. This is a verified venue I've never been to, but by proxy, I almost feel like I know it. So special shout out to Daryl from the Facebook group. He sent me this verified venue on Facebook, and that's why we're featuring it today. So shout out to you, Daryl. Thanks for the suggestion. We're talking about Golden Harvest Market. 10 years ago, probably wouldn't be in a beer conversation. But Daryl's notes, right? There's a sandwich shop that's part of this, and they're putting the beer and the vegetables. It's kind of like almost like a bodega or like a little tiny neighborhood grocery store. Very, very mom and pop. He said they have about a dozen taps right in the store. Really fun experience. Small mom and pop place that are being really creative. So some highlights. They have a growler station in this place. I mean, I still think that's cool as hell. In a tiny little, like, there's 3 people on the payroll for the whole store. And they have a growler station, and they keep it stocked. One of the beers, I looked at their menu on Untappd, They have Hoof Hearted, which is a great brewery and even more fun to say. So Daryl mentioned the 2 features that make me jealous. One, great, fresh, local vegetables right next to a bunch of beer. So if you're going to go shopping, why not pick up your veggies and take a look at the beer while you're there? And second part, their sandwich shop is all caps amazing. So if you're ever out near Holland, Ohio, which isn't experiencing a tourism boom right now, but it's kind of basically like, if you look at it on a map, you would justify it as like Western Toledo, Ohio. Perfect. If you're ever out there or you're curious, pull it up on Untappd. Check out the Garden Harvest Market on Untappd. Pick out a 6-pack, grab a growler, tell them Daryl sent you, and definitely check out the sandwiches. Harrison, do you have a favorite sandwich if we were going there, if we were fortunate enough to go there this weekend?
Sure. Yeah, if I'm in like a deli situation, I usually do something like a chicken cutlet type, maybe some cheddar, perhaps a spicy aioli of some sort, maybe a tomato and a lettuce on there, something like that. Give me a big old baguette. Yeah, or just a classic Italian. You and I actually used to frequent an awesome sandwich, I guess, deli near the office that I'm thinking about and drooling.
As soon as you said chicken cutlet, I remember. Make sure it's light mayo,
right,
John.
light mayo.
Make sure it's light mayo.
Right.
And we would joke say, just put regular mayo on it.
Just put extra. He doesn't care. Sandwiches and oh yes, what a great invention. Holy guacamole. All right, guys, well, we did it. We learned about the legend that is New Brew Thursday. It feels like it's kind of a lot like, well, maybe there's some Inception things going on. It's kind of like finding that matching sock, though. If it were an Untappd badge, it's tough to track down. Got to keep them together, but it's possible. It's got to be organized and understand how time works. We also enjoyed this killer Pilsner from Threes Brewing. It's the year of the lager. It's going. We're moving right along, true to our word. Thanks again, Daryl, for letting us know about Garden Harvest Market and making us. Today we thought about crackers, burgers, and sandwiches. I'm so excited. I'm lucky I'm not. I need a bib. I'm drooling. I'm not. I'm controlling myself. Guys, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you listen to podcasts, of course. You can follow John at Drinking with John most places, or Untappd John. You can follow me at Harry Beerbeard. What's going on next week, John? What's happening? What's next for us all?
Yeah, so next week is basically the story of my craft beer journey through 2020.
Yes.
Likely a lot of our craft beer journeys. We're featuring the badge that had a 2020, much like Zoom or Peloton. So go find your favorite gas station, your sandwich store, a bottle shop, and grab some beers to go, because Harrison and I are going to be featuring To Go Please.
Indeed. So, as the kids say, we're going to catch you guys on the flip-flop. But until then...
I almost spit beer all over this keyboard. Cheers!
Cheers!